How did humans survive the last ice age? The last ice age was during the Paleolithic and early Mesolithic periods of human history, beginning 100,000 years ago and ending 25,000 years ago. By the time it was over, Homo sapiens were the only human species to have survived its brutal conditions. The Ice Age, or Last Glacial Period, was the time during which up to approximately 30% of the Earth's surface was covered in ice, and temperatures peaked around 7 degrees Celsius. Sheets of ice and glaciers covered Antarctica, Canada, Northern USA and Northern Eurasia, some of which can still be seen today, thousands of years later. Sea levels fell across the world, and rainfall was less than half of what it is today. During this period, multiple human species existed and lived across the world. Denisovans and Homo erectus in Asia, Neanderthals in Western and Central Eurasia, and the modern-day human, Homo Sapiens, in Africa. With ice blanketing the land and a lack of rainwater, vegetation suffered, becoming sparse and limited. Conditions were often bleak, and food was hard to find for early humans. It was during then that Homo sapiens emerged as the dominant species of the Homo genus, surviving where other earlier hominins became extinct. Our theories of both early Homo sapiens and other human subspecies are just that, theories. The truth is, we don't know exactly why we survived where other species failed, nor do we know the exact reasons others became extinct. But experts across the world have made certain conclusions about which aspects of Homo sapiens civilization could have helped us survive the brutality of the Ice Age. Let's take a look at some of the most popular theories of why Homo sapiens survived. 1. Location, location, location. One thing Homo sapiens had to their advantage over other species was their location. Our subspecies developed in Africa, the continent least affected by the Ice Age harsh climatic conditions and sudden, devastatingly cold stretches. Although later in the Ice Age we migrated across the continents, this may have helped us survive the abrupt climate changes other species were subjected to earlier in the Ice Age. In Eurasia, for example, the Neanderthal population was sparse and spread out over a huge space, and recent research concludes that even with their evolutionary adaptations to the cold, Neanderthals' population was further devastated by sudden cold stretches across the continent. Paleoanthropologist John Shea is one such expert who believes they simply froze to death. This claim has been disputed. Other experts argue this somewhat contradicts evidence that Homo sapiens and Neanderthals had a longer history than we initially believed, and, after we crossed the continents and met our Neanderthal cousins, we may have existed side by side for quite some time, and eventually simply outcompeted them for the few resources available during the Ice Age. 2. Speech. It's long been concluded that Homo sapiens had more advanced methods of communication than other human subspecies. Professor of anthropology Brian Fagan believes we were a species who even back then had developed fluent speech, allowing us to conceptualize and plan ahead. We were able to share knowledge and new technology, passing down what we had learnt to the next generation, leading to a social camaraderie not seen in other subspecies. This is further supported by the discovery of Paleolithic cave art that tells the story of a species that understood the natural world and found ways to pass that information on, transmitting information about seasons, edible plants, weather patterns, animal migration, and more. A recent study by Mark Pagel, an evolutionary biologist, has even concluded that certain words we use today can be traced back to early Ice Age humans. Words that helped us survive, like fire, ashes, I, who, and we. This all means humans had longer-reaching social alliances, stretched across different groups and continents. Although the Neanderthals may have had the evolutionary edge physically to surviving the cold, they couldn't rely on the long-distance social alliances that Homo sapiens could to survive. 3. Hunting and tools. Although all human subspecies created forms of tools and weapons to help them survive, the ones humans made, coupled with superior intellect, helped us surpass and outlive our ancestors. Around 50,000 years ago, a few human species developed tools called geometric microliths, small sharp stone blades shaped into hard points that could be used as projectile weapons or in food preparation. The different subspecies were already competing for limited resources, and Homo sapiens tools made us superior hunters who were able to obtain more meat through coordinated hunting efforts. Where Neanderthals seemed to lean towards more up-close and personal fighting, using spears and short-range weapons, Homo sapiens developed more projectiles, allowing them to keep their distance as they hunted, marginally safer than the methods used by our Neanderthal cousins. Archaeological evidence also shows we strategically planned our hunts, building fires to direct and block off animal escape routes, and communicated hunting plans through our advanced powers of speech. Once again, it was not necessarily our advanced tool-making abilities, but that of the speech to communicate these ideas that helped set us apart and claim the few food options quicker than the other species. 4. Warm clothing. Professor Brian Fagan considers the greatest invention in human history to be the needle. We have found needles tracing back 50,000 years, allowing early humans to shape and tailor clothes to the individual and to layer them, giving additional protections against the elements, with different hides and skins serving different purposes in the outfit. Whilst Neanderthal clothes were loose-fitting, Homo sapiens could bundle themselves up in layers to keep themselves warm and survive the harsh climates that other subspecies could not. 5. Shelter. Humans often made shelter in natural deep rock depressions, often cut into riverbeds or the sides of cliffs. They developed sophisticated ways to enhance their shelters and provide them with more comfort and protection against the chilly winds of the Ice Age. Using fauna and hides, they would create protective overhangs, effectively Paleolithic-era doors that insulated their shelters, and keep fires that would bounce off the stone sides of their homes, reflecting the heat and light back onto them. The first man-made shelters also sprang up during this period. Archaeologists have found the first attempt at human structures, shelters dug into the earth, made using mammoth bones to create a latticework that hides could be placed over to form a makeshift house that could be used for longer periods of time. In the end, there is no one reason Homo sapiens survived the Ice Age where other species died. A combination of luck, better powers of speech, and the ability to communicate over vast distances and time led to Homo sapiens being able to form more cohesive hunting strategies and tools that, in the end, meant we could outcompete the other species for the few resources available during the Ice Age. Getting chilly? Don't forget to like and subscribe before the button freezes over.